In the Golden Gate Park in San Francisco, California, there exists a small group, a drumming culture, that has been frequenting an area known as Sharon Meadow, but more exclusively as Hippy Hill. Since the 1960s, when people old and young migrated to San Francisco, Hippy Hill, along with the Haight-Ashbury district, with which the Stanton entrance to the park borders, were the main places where the transients felt home. This was the beginning. Throughout the world, subcultures exist within the infrastructure of a more dominant semi-permanent culture. Although those permanent cultures seem to change, they don't really seem to inspire the existence of these subcultures, less their evolution. In particular, the drumming culture in the Golden Gate Park in San Francisco, California, demonstrates the independent existence of a subculture outside the contemporary cultures that are prevalent in San Francisco. Although the drumming culture of Sharon Meadow and Hippy Hill contrasts the ideals exhibited in other subcultures, it parallels valid hierarchies in other dominant cultures across the world. In other cultures, hierarchies are formed naturally for survival, whereas a king or chief's responsibility is to organize or manage a particular sector within the infrastructure. It's not uncommon to see veterans of the group demonstrate the rules of the group and deny a place on the bench, known as Isaac's bench. Like every social group, the drummers sometimes exhibit incohesiveness. Also, sometimes there are disagreements, sometimes over the rules that most know exist, but seem to ignore from time to time. Much of the time at the circle is filled with greetings or socializing that eventually always leads into a different type of language. Drumming. Sometimes the activity is low. Sometimes the activity is unsure. And sometimes it's powerful. When looking at these aspects of hierarchical infrastructure within subcultures of modern and past societies alike, there are some questions. How does an individual fail in a particular dominant culture but succeed within a subculture of that dominant culture? Does this particular subculture evolve naturally according to its hierarchy that it chooses to retain? One hypothesis is that perhaps constructs of the dominant culture are demanding or taxing on that individual, but the natural laws of the subculture are not. Perhaps the rewards from subcultures are enough to motivate individuals to properly assimilate and adjust into their dominant culture. The footage you see is research footage for a much larger project that will be completed by late 2008. The activities and behaviors I plan to document will be centered around the natural hierarchies that exist in subcultures.
it's not meant to be played between my legs, so it's like